What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on Jeff Lightsy Jr. YouTube. And we have a special guest today, the quarterback of the future for the Jackson State Tigers, Mr. Phillip Short. Phillip Short, a commitment in the class of 23, commitment class, recruiting class, or December 22, however you want to put it. Phillip, how's it going, man?
Going good, man. Just taking it easy, you know.
And it is awesome. It's awesome to hear, Phillip. Phillip Short, you were one of, if not, I want to say you was the first commitment under Coach TC. We're going to get to all of that stuff. We're going to get to all of that, but I want to hear more about your journey, how we got up until this point, and we'll talk about this point in the future just a little bit later. But, Phillip, you're a Mississippi native. You're a Mississippi guy. Tell me about football. How'd you get introduced to football? Who introduced you to the game? And how have you gotten this far in the game with all the success?
It started off as my dad is longtime head coach. He was the head coach of Greenville High School, you know, and he was head coach in Atlanta, Georgia, at Indianola, at Gentry. So he's been all over. And when he was coaching, I was on the sideline training. So being a trainer, being around football, so that's where my love grew. And, he's been coaching for like 40 years, I think. I don't even know the number. So he's been in the coaching business a long time. So I'm just following to the narrative of the coach's kid. So that's where it first started off. And, started in Greenville, Mississippi. Then that's where I spent most of my life. And then came to the Jackson area, 10th grade. And now I'm here, so.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Let's talk about your position, man. When you were earlier, shorty, playing football, were you always a quarterback, or did you kind of develop into a quarterback? How did that kind of come about?
Oh, man. I joke with my friends all the time, man. I always play quarterback, man. It can be either we playing organized football, playing 7-on-7 on the street. You know, just growing up, I was always the all-time quarterback. I never did too much running. I was always the all-time quarterback. So, I've been playing quarterback ever since I first found out the game, found my love for the game of football. And I actually played baseball too, third base. So, you know, if you know anything about baseball, the infield, third base, that's the farthest throw.
The longest throw. Yeah, that's the longest throw.
So that was my position too. So I was just always been a thrower.
So you've always had a strong arm. Did you always when you got on the field, did you discover it? When did you find out, like, man, I can throw this thing, dog? Y'all don't know.
Just going back and forth from baseball to football. Kind of found my niche there. And just growing up, always being the quarterback, that's where I felt I had my love. You know, watching guys like Tom Brady growing up, that also played a big part in me wanting to be a quarterback too, because I grew up a New England Patriots fan. So, just watching him, and that was my favorite player. So, it had a lot to do with it too.
You could definitely tell you came up in the Tom Brady era, because I'm not old. I'm only 27, but most folks weren't no Patriots fan. Folks around your age, my age, old folks weren't no Patriots fan. So you're like, okay, Tom Brady, that makes sense, man. That makes sense. So let's talk about some of them days, man, playing football in Mississippi, middle school, high school. What was that experience like playing ball? What, your dad being a coach, how was he ever tough on you, like really tough on you and maybe some of your siblings when he was as a coach?
Oh, yeah. Growing up, he was always tough. It was just like, it was never a break from football. You know, summer workouts, spring workouts. We were always around it. And at that time, I was like 7 or 8, 6, sometimes 5. And like when they're out there running sprints, he wanted me to run sprints too, or just flipping tires, just things like that, just to get me used to it. And the disciplinary side of it, you know what I'm saying? He allowed us to see him discipline kids in front of our face so we can know, you know what I'm saying? Wow. So we can have discipline. So I thank you for that a lot. And growing up, middle school, I ended up playing quarterback. I played safety 7th grade year and quarterback, but like the 7th grader didn't play with the 8th grader. So like 7th grade, I played safety, and which is still the quarterback of the defense.
Yeah.
I played safety, and then 8th grade, I've been playing quarterback ever since then. So it's been a fun journey for sure.
So when did you realize, like, hey man, kind of good now. Like I'm all right at this game. When did that kind of sit in for you? Not to say that you got complacent, but when did you realize you were a pretty good player in football?
I would say probably about 8th grade, 9th grade year.
Okay.
learning. I mean, we had a coach. You know, my dad was the head coach of Greenville High School, and we had a coach, Sherrod Gideon. He was a record holder at Southern Miss, record holder receiver at Southern Miss, and he was the offensive coordinator at the time. So he also taught me a lot about the game and, like, you know, how to make different throws and my different reads. And I found myself catching on quick to the reads and catching on quick to the mental aspect of the game rather than just like the physical attribute. So I found myself catching on quick, you know, dissecting what's cover 3, dissecting what's cover 2, and like I was knowing it like off the rip. So that just made me know, like, hey, you know, you can use your brain instead of just using your physical attributes. Quarterback is the position where you get to use both your brain and your physical attributes. So that's when I first found my love for it, I'd say 9th grade year.
Absolutely, man. And anytime any fan of any team, I know JSU fans at home are like, yo, man, I like to hear my quarterback talk about cover 2, cover 3, you know, like, because that lets you know that you know what you're talking about, right? Like, you know, a lot of folks at home, you know, they're just seeing what's happening on the field, but a lot of things, especially at the quarterback position, it's pre-snap reads. It's what you studied in film. It's what you did.
No doubt.
Like, so hearing you say that using that verbiage, it really, especially at the quarter, I don't care about if I hear that verbiage at my defensive end. That's cool, you know. But I'm a quarterback.
Yeah, they just rushing the pass.
Yeah, man, exactly. So I like to hear that from the quarterback, man. Once again, we're talking to Philip Short, Jackson State quarterback football committee's the quarterback of the future for Coach TC and the JSU Tigers. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Now, Philip, let's talk about high school. You talk about your dad being a high school coach at Greenville. Where did you start? Where'd you play high school at? And what was your high school experience? Start with me freshman year. And when did you finally start getting on the varsity field and making some plays?
Freshman year, I started I was 9th grade year at Greenville High School, and I had a senior in front of me. He was a really good player, Tavon Littlejohn. He led the state in passing yards, you know. So, and it was like an air raid offense. So I got a chance to learn behind him. And my dad got a job in the Jackson area, and not as a coach, but as a principal in the Jackson area. So we moved to the Jackson area, and I went to Northwest Rankin under Coach Toby Collins, who's a great coach. And I started the first 5 or 6 games. I got sidelined due to an injury. And after that, I transferred my 11th and 12th grade year to MRA under Coach Herbert Davis, where, you know, I wanted to get somewhere where I can throw the ball 40 times a game and actually learn as a passer as opposed to just your zone read type quarterback, because I knew that wasn't me. So I transferred to 11th and 12th grade year under Herbert Davis. I mean, he ran the air raid offense. I mean, the guys that Mike Leach, you know, the great Mike Leach, RP to him. Mike Leach, Hal Mummy, he ran the offense that all those great coaches ran, and I got a chance to get taught it and learn the reads. We had a lot of choice routes. So, I mean, it was a lot on the quarterback for sure, a lot of responsibility, but I wanted that. So when I got to the college level, you know, it wouldn't just be a shock to me that, you know, I have to adjust the O-line protection and the routes and things of that nature. So, I mean, 11th, 12th grade year, I got a chance to go there, you know, got a chance to win the state championship, you know, my senior year, you know, broke the record for Mississippi passing yards.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
In a game or for a season? Which one?
For a single season. I mean, a single game. Single game. Yep. The state championship senior year, threw for 5.
You broke it in the state championship?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That was a great part of my life, and I feel like that, you know, all those steps along the way prepared me for the quarterback I am now, and just going through, you know, as a quarterback, you're gonna go through ups and downs. That's just the nature of the position, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like that has helped me and helped groom me all the way through. So.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you talked about, you know, some of the great things you were able to do at MRA. One of the things I think I read was that you were one of the players of the year. Were you the state player of the year? How did that work? And what was that like?
I was the player of the year for the Jackson Touchdown Club, which is a big time, you know, in the Jackson area. And then I was the SCS player of the year. So like previously you had guys like Cam Akers to win it, Willie Gay, and like some of the big time names in Mississippi, AJ Brown, like those guys won it. And so my senior year, I ended up winning player of the year. I mean, I think in the voting, the last 4 came down to Will Rogers, who's at Mississippi State right now, Jimmy Holiday, who's at Tennessee, and Jeremiah Pegues, who's now at Ole Miss. So it was us 4 in the last runnings, and I ended up winning that player of the year too.
Wow. Jimmy Holiday, another guy who was considered out in the transfer portal.
Yeah, really
good
dude.
Maybe a future teammate. I don't know, but let's talk about recruiting during that time. So during that time, you're setting records, you're winning games, winning state championships. What was the recruiting process like for you during high school?
The recruiting process, I mean, it was always steady. I would say I had a lot of interest. I mean, 10th grade year, I had interest from Ole Miss, State, Bama. Like I was going to camps, and I was impressive in front of the coaches. I mean, Southern Miss, like 10th and 11th grade year, and then senior year, I started to get like calls from South Alabama and McNeese. I had got University of Idaho, Jacksonville State. Coach Cleo Lemon, he offered me a spot there, but it was always like I'd get an offer and the coaching staff would leave. You know what I'm saying? Which would now like if you know anything about quarterback recruiting, you gotta. If you're not on anybody else's board, then it's like, starting all over. So like most of the time it was like the coaching staff leave. I mean, that happened at Idaho, that happened at Jacksonville State, that happened at a lot of places. I mean, Joe Moorhead was about to offer me at Mississippi State. He left. So like, it was just always, I feel like that was always the thing in recruiting. So I took the JUCO route because, I mean, in Mississippi, that's advised to take.
So that's what I was about to say. How did the JUCO thing come about? I know you was talking about the staffs leaving at the other schools, but how did the JUCO? I think you're about to get into it. How the JUCO thing came about?
Yeah, that's advised. I mean, kind of like take a risk, take a gamble on yourself because I always wanted the Power 5, the big time. Any quarterback, they want the best.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I always wanted the Power 5s, and in Mississippi, you're taught like if you don't get the Power 5s, go to JUCO route because you can get the Power 5, the big time off or whatever. So I ended up turning down like Jacksonville State Alcorn, and I ended up going to Mississippi Gulf Coast where we won South State first year. I was one of the top passers there in the nation my true freshman year as a quarterback. I mean, and if you know anything about quarterback position, the true freshman year, like that's straight out of high school playing against guys that, I mean, I think we played against guys all over the SEC. I mean, on my team alone, I had like on the defensive side of the ball, like 8 guys signed Division I, like Power 5 level. So like I was throwing against Power 5 defensive backs like all day, every day, man. DeJuan Black, I mean, just a bunch of guys that's in the SEC right now that I threw against, and you know what I'm saying. I had offensive linemen that's at Mississippi State, just at big time schools. So like I've always played against that competition at the junior college level. So I went to Mississippi Gulf Coast, and then COVID year happened. So and that was my year coming out. So COVID happened. That's what slowed everything.
What was that like? What was that like for you at a JUCO? Think about it. It's COVID. It's something the world's never had, and you're at a JUCO, and football may or may not be there. What was that like for you?
It was just like one of those things where like everything was kind of at a standstill. You never knew your next move. I remember us playing a week and sitting out like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we had to come back and play the South State Championship. So like, I mean, it was just one of those things where you never knew the next move. And as far as the recruitment side, I mean, everything was at a standstill. You had 4-year players coming back, and you had like, because they granted everybody an extra year of eligibility. So it was essentially like nothing changed. You know what I'm saying? Everybody could come back to their own school. So it was like I'd have to do another year there. And I mean, it was a challenging time, but I'm big on my faith. I always knew that God had a plan. I never really stressed, even throughout my whole life, I never really stressed about like recruiting. I always just wanted to enjoy it, enjoy the game. I thank God for allowing me to be able to play the great game that I love. You know what I'm saying? I never really focused on just recruiting, because I know if it was His will that it was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big religious guy. So,
absolutely, man. Let's talk about, so you're at the JUCO. You talked about your true freshman year, but your sophomore year or that second year or this past season, what was this your second year at JUCO? Or this past season was it your third year?
No, I came back. I came back for a third year because my second year.
Walk me through that. Yeah.
Okay, so freshman year started, we won South State, and then the next year I came back, played the first 5 games. I had a high ankle sprain, so that set me up the latter part of the year. I mean, as a start, I went 4-1 that year, but I not set out, but I got hurt, so that put me out. So I'm like, in college, so I got hurt. So like I didn't finish the year, so I had to come back and do another year. And I was coming back to do another year because the first year didn't count. Like I said, the COVID. I think we played like 6 games or something like that. So that year didn't count at all. So I came back for essentially my second year, and I was just weighing my options. And I was like, I mean, that's by this time I heard Coach Marcus Woods was coming to Holmes, and if you know anything about JUCO football, that was a great coach. I mean, last chance he developed Bo Wallace, Lindsey Scott is at UIW right now. So like he developed a lot of big time quarterbacks, along with Coach Bo Wallace, who was going to be the quarterback coach. So I made my mind up I was leaving there to get even more development, you know what I'm saying, from those coaches and, like learn from those guys. Because it's not often that you get a chance to sit in the quarterback room with Bo Wallace, who was the SEC,
who beat Bama.
He beat Bama at Ole Miss. And we'd get a chance to go in there and talk through reads, and he telling me like next level things, you know what I'm saying, that could take my game to another level. And Coach Woods, he was a brilliant play caller. He always put the offense in the right, in the right things to win. So like learning from those two guys, that definitely helped me a lot. So that was my journey right there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you go that last year at Holmes College, man, you light it up, man. JUCO All-American, one of the best players in all of JUCO space. What was that year? What was that like for you, man? You got a big smile. Looked like it was fun.
My move there, it was once again faith driven, because something was God was just telling me that you need to be there at that time. Because at the time now, Holmes hadn't won a game in like 3 years, in like 1,730 something days. They hadn't won a game in 3 years. So I saw the new staff coming. Coach Barney Farrer, who was at Ole Miss. Everybody knows Coach Barney, the best recruiting guy out there. So and all those guys came home. So I was like, let me go take a chance there. You know what I'm saying? And it ended up working out, man. Great. We were the number one passing offense, in the regular season. Obviously, we didn't make the playoffs. We were one game shy of making the playoffs. But, to come to a school that hadn't won a game in 3 years and you're in the playoff race in junior college, that was a big deal to me and a big deal to the staff. So I definitely, I had a great time there. Like you said, we had the number one passing offense. I was top 5 in every passing statistic category, you know what I'm saying? So, I feel like it definitely worked out for me for sure.
Yeah, man, you did it right, man. You did it up. You, like I said, JUCO All-American, one of the best passers in all of JUCO this past season. Now, talk to me about recruiting at Holmes. Now, let's talk about the recruiting, and then when did JSU get involved?
Recruiting at Holmes, I had Texas State, McNeese, Mississippi Valley came in. I was talking to Mississippi State at the beginning of the year. And I was talking to a lot of like big time programs because, Coach Wood and they got connections everywhere. So I was talking, but like taking visits everywhere. And then Jackson State came in, I would say like right toward I don't remember the exact date, but I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. One of them came in, and Coach Taylor called me and was like, "Hey man, we're looking for a guy to come in and compete for the job. Somebody's going to come in and work hard and challenge the locker room and be that leader because, Shadir's leaving, which he was a great quarterback for Jackson State and, Coach Prime, all those guys, those were really good guys and wanted to come in, and just be the leader and perform at a high level. And he challenged me with that, and I took the challenge. In my head, I'm thinking, what better way to do it than to play for your hometown? You know what I'm saying? And I went to the game because my brother played for Southern. So I went to the Jackson State and Southern. I went to the Jackson State and Southern game. This was before they offered. And I had no thought in my head that I was going to Jackson State. I was just going to
Was this the early season game or the SWAC championship game?
It was the SWAC championship. I was going to the game because my parents are rooted in the SWAC, you know what I'm saying? So, and my brother played there. So I was just going to watch a good game, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have a thought in my mind that I'd be going to Jackson State. And so I went there, watched the game, man. I loved the atmosphere, man. You got 50,000 people there cheering you on. A passionate fan base. I love that, and that definitely swayed my decision even more to come. So, that was the reason that I came for sure, man.
Man,
my relationship with Coach Taylor and the fan base.
let's talk about that though, man. Let's talk about Coach Taylor, Coach TC. He is now the 22nd head coach at Jackson State, and like I think I was telling you off air, like you were the first really commitment, maybe the first overall, but the first big one for sure to commit to Coach Taylor and play for Jackson State. What is that relationship like between you and Coach Taylor? The relationship between a head coach and a quarterback's got to be special, and for you to be the first big time commitment to go play for Coach TC, not the past era, but to go play for Coach TC means a lot. What is that like for you?
I mean, I think it's really good. I mean, me and Coach TC, we talk a lot. We try to communicate a lot. I mean, different guys that we think that can help the offense out. We discuss, we talk on that. I mean, I just really feel like he trusts me as a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, obviously, he's made it very clear that I had to come in and compete for his job and win the job, which I'm totally, okay with doing. But like, I feel like as a head coach, I mean, me and his relationship are really good. I texted him before the game, when I was told him I was going to commit, he was really, really excited about that. So, like, I mean, our relationship is pretty good, and it's been getting even better here of late.
That's it. That's awesome, man. That's awesome to hear. Now, I know you'll hear, because I'll hear, you'll hear the chatter about people saying, "Oh, you're going to Jackson State. They're losing. They're losing everything that they're losing. It's not going to be the same as it's been the past 2 years." When you hear things like that, what do you kind of think? Does that bother you at all?
I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. Because once again, I mean, people are people. People are gonna have something to say about you, whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad. I mean, I try to tone out all of the, all of the side chatter and be laser focused on my job and the team that I'm going to inherit. You know what I'm saying? As far as like not the people that want to leave. If they want to leave, you know what I'm saying? That's just their prerogative. That's their decision. They can do whatever they want. But I just trust that Coach Ridley, Coach O, and Coach Taylor, I feel like they're going to assemble a great roster, you know what I'm saying? I definitely think we'd make a run for it again for sure. I mean, I know it's key guys leave, and I see that every day. Guys are getting in the portal, but I just trust that they're going to recruit the guys. I mean, we're still recruiting every day, so nothing's going to stop. I mean, it's Jackson State.
Come on. Yeah, tell them. It's Jackson State, man. That's awesome, man. Once again, we're talking to Phillip Short, the quarterback of the future at Jackson State University, one of the big time commitments for Coach TC Taylor. Phillip, will you be signing? Will you be signing this week?
Yeah,
how's all that going?
I'll be signing tomorrow.
Okay. You'll be signing JSU. What are your plans for your future at Jackson State? How do you kind of see everything playing out? Do you like? I know you had put your faith in Coach TC, but in an opportunistic and an ideal, if you could predict the future, how do you see your time at Jackson State playing out?
Obviously, I want to go there and be a successful quarterback. I pride myself on winning, so I want to win a lot of games. I want to win the SWAC championship. I want to actually bring back a Celebration Bowl championship, which they've never done before. So I want to go and finish it the right way. So that's definitely what I want to do and have a chance at the league. That's everybody's dream. That's been my dream since at a young age. And I just feel like the NFL is going to find you. You know what I'm saying? If you put good tape on film, then they're going to find you regardless of where you're at. So, and I feel like Jackson State is a national brand now, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. And they've been a national brand, but like as of late, they're definitely a national brand. So I feel like that it'd be, it just to be up to me and up to our team to go to the next level for sure. Eyes are on us though.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. Now, Phillip, you talked about your brother played at Southern. He's in the transfer portal. It's a lot of people with the last name Short running around Mississippi that's pretty good at football. Is any recruiting going on in-house? Like, what's that like, man? It's like I'm not necessarily just him, but I know you got someone with the last name Short that's committed to like either Navy or Air Force or some other folks Shorts running around Mississippi that are really, really talented. How is that? What's that like in your household right now?
Yeah, all my brothers. I mean, we all grew up competitive like that. And like I said, my dad been coaching for 40 years, so we all grew up around the sport of football.
So they're all your brothers. So one of your brothers is committed. Wow.
Yeah, it's 5. We got 5 boys.
5 boys. Okay.
Yeah, 5
What's
boys.
the names? I just saw the
Jeremiah, Noah, Joshua Short, Caleb Short, and Phillip Short.
Yeah. 5 and boys. So are you the oldest?
Next to the oldest. Josh was actually the oldest.
Josh the oldest. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so, what's that? Like I said, what's the like? Are you on it at 1,400? Like, what's the thing like? Are you
I
recruiting your
mean,
brothers? I know some of them committed to other places.
it's definitely been discussed. I mean, we'd
Okay,
love to team up to play with each other.
come
My
on.
parents wouldn't have to go to 2 different games on the weekend. I mean,
Yeah,
it's definitely been discussed for sure. But we're gonna let him make his own decision. But I mean, we've made it clear that we want him at Jackson State. So
that's the
I made
brother
it
that's
clear.
in the trend. That's the brother that's in the transfer portal. But like I said,
Exactly.
you got 3 under you. One of them I know is committed somewhere.
Yeah.
What are those discussions like?
I mean, I'm trying to pull him on the B I love wave. I think he's pretty committed to Navy though.
Okay,
But
Navy. Okay, I knew
yeah,
it was somewhere.
he's committed to Navy. He's a defensive back, really good player. But I think he's kind of swayed his decision in Navy. But he definitely be watching and supporting. And my younger brother Jeremiah, he's a receiver. He's just recently been offered by Holmes, which is junior college I come from. And
Okay.
he's a really good, really shifty receiver, and we're definitely trying to pull him and Josh over to Jackson State. So,
absolutely, man. That's gotta be. So you grew up with 4 brothers and a dad
yes,
that was a
sir.
football coach. What was that like?
It was always, we were always around the sport, man. I'm telling you, if it wasn't something, it was another. It was football trips, 7-on-7, summer workouts, spring workouts, camps. Like, we even had our own little football team in the neighborhood. I was the quarterback. Everybody else just go along. And I'd play safety when we were on defense and everybody else covered. So, like, we always just rode as one. I mean, we all love each other. So,
yeah, your dad, man, that is crazy. Your dad and mom had a whole starting 5. What's mom like, man? When she got all these sons, 5 sons. What's that like for mom? I know the grocery bill's pretty crazy, and the cooking's got to go out of control.
That's every week. The grocery bill is crazy, but I mean, she manages. She manages it. I mean, one thing about mom, she give her left foot for all of us, man. I mean, she loves to see our success, and even when we fail at something, she's right there. I mean, she's the true definition of motherly love. So, I mean, she definitely makes sure that we're good. My dad was always the coach, so my mom always had to be the the nurturer, the one that comes and rubs up on you. So,
yeah.
definitely thank you for that.
The coach, the dad that'll beat it into you, but make sure you understood.
Yeah,
but mom take care of the rest, man.
discipline.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Well, Philip, I don't want to hold you too much longer, man. Just got a few more things. Just before we get out of here, just after football, man, I always like to ask recruits and players that are going to play at the next level at college. What are some of your plans? Hopefully you go on to have great success, win championships at Jackson State, SWAC, and Celebration Bowl. But after that's over, I mean, and I hope you have a professional football career, a long professional football career. But what are kind of some of your plans, some of the things you want to do outside of the game that maybe like once you have your 10, 15 years in the NFL, what is something that you may want to do after football?
I mean, as of now, I'm majoring in accounting, so I wanted to definitely become an accounting. I mean, that's been my dream as well. I've been working hard in the classroom to pursue that goal. So I love being around money and I love math, talking statistics and things of that nature. So I want to pursue an accounting degree and work in an accounting firm somewhere. So that'll be my plans.
And that accounting, man, that'll help you make some money, and it'll help you learn how to manage your money. Once you get to the end, because we think you're gonna go to the NFL, man. We think you're gonna go to Jackson State with a bunch of games, win championships, and then make it to the next level. So we definitely think that accounting degree will come in handy when you're managing all that money from the NFL, man. So that's definitely that's what I think, man. But I'll get you out of here on this, Philip, man. Just for the JSU fans at home, they've seen you play in high school. They've even seen you play and dominate at the JUCO level. What can they expect from you as the quarterback of the future? They've experienced a lot of success, Philip, during the last 2 years, and they want to keep this thing to keep on rolling. What are your message to the fans as far as what you're going to bring to the table as a student athlete, as a quarterback, and just as a person back in the Jackson community?
I mean, I'm gonna come in, be the team player, be the leader of the locker room. The quarterback's the face of the team, so I'll be the face of the team. And I mean, just come in, resemble hard work, you know what I'm saying? Resemble, just a winning attitude, back against the wall. I want to be the guy that they call on to make a play, you know what I'm saying? Which is what I've been for the majority of my life. So that's what I want to do, man. I want to just come in and keep that winning pipeline going. And like I said, I want to win the Celebration Bowl. You know, that's something that they've never done here. So I want to win the whole thing, you know, and just earn respect through that. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, this is Phillip Short. This is the quarterback of the future for Jackson State. He was one of the first, if not the first. I think you were the first commitment under new head coach TC Taylor, the 22nd head coach at Jackson State University, the football team. Hey, Phillip, I want to thank you so much, man, for taking a few minutes out
Yes,
your day.
sir. Thank you.
Speaking with me, man. Hey, congratulations on all your success. And I wish you nothing but the best for your future success that I expect you to have, man. Once again, this is Jeff JR with the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on YouTube and Facebook. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out, and we'll see you next time.